Hello and welcome to Green Angle, a program which examines environmental issues while also proffering sustainable solutions. I am Esther Omopariola. And before we begin, let's bring you updates from the world of environment.
The federal government is stepping up efforts to curb climate change impacts with a new drive to reduce methane emissions from dump sites across Nigeria. At a stakeholder engagement and inception workshop on data mapping of climate actors, experts, policymakers and environmental advocates gathered to chart a coordinated approach for methane reduction, one of the most potent greenhouse gases driving global warming. The workshop also aims to create a comprehensive database of organizations and initiatives working in Nigeria's climate sector, ensuring better collaboration, information sharing, and targeted action. Officials say the initiative aligns with Nigeria's climate commitments under the Paris Agreement and supports the country's transition toward a cleaner, more sustainable environment.
We need to listen to what people who are carrying out research works and intervention activities in that area, for us to see physically the effect of methane in the system and the reason why we have to reduce methane emission.
This event is designed to build upon those efforts by advancing coordination among key national stakeholders working on climate mitigation, with a particular focus on methane reduction in the solid waste sector. It provides a platform to translate actionable measures tailored to the waste management value chain, ensuring that national efforts remain cohesive, informed, and results-driven.
Methane mitigation is not just a climate issue, it is a development opportunity. Reducing methane in landfills through improved waste segregation from the source, biogas systems and composting can create green jobs, improve public health, and enhance energy access. Similarly, tackling methane from agriculture through improved livestock practices and sustainable rice cultivation can boost food security and farmer income while cutting emissions.
In Akodoise, a coastal community in Ibejuleki, Lagos, life has never been easy. People here depend mostly on fishing, but with no stable power supply, many fishermen lose their catch because they can't store it properly. Now that's beginning to change. A non-governmental organization working with a private company has donated solar-powered cold systems and recycling centers to help the community.
Sometimes before 400,000 or 450,000.
Before, when we caught fish, most of it got spoiled overnight, sometimes worth as much as 450,000 or 500,000 naira. And so, we often lost all our profit. But now, with this cold room, we can preserve our fish and make more money.
To
say Airbnb do it for us freely. I would do for everybody say make they use this thing freely. But because of the maintenance, I would like to be collecting ship money from their hands.
The new solar facilities will help fishermen preserve their fish, reduce waste, and also encourage recycling, all while protecting the environment.
The partnership with Circularity is also about taking away plastics from the coastal line. And so we've done this in a way that the community is also able to benefit. So when they pick the plastics, we will be able to exchange those plastics for value. One, they create value for themselves, but it also has a very positive impact on the communities.
We also understand that the government can't do everything, right? But one of the major things that the government will do is to create that framework that will enable private, participation and private investment into such initiatives like we have seen here today. Of course, the government can still do more, right? But then again, we're saying that it starts with a framework where when there is a policy direction that is consistent, right, and that is durable, then it's going to boost investment into social infrastructure, interventions as this and so much.
With projects like this taking shape in communities such as Akodoise, there is a growing sense of hope that residents won't just see signs of development, but also gain lasting and sustainable means of livelihood.
At the Ikpakodo terminal in Ikorodu, heavy-duty machines hum steadily as they slice through dense mats of water hyacinth clogging major routes. The Lagos area manager of the National Inland Waterways Authority, Sarat Brahma, says the clearance operation marks the start of a broader national intervention to reclaim navigable waterways. She explains that the cleanup drive forms part of the federal government's plan to sustain inland water transport and improve safety.
You can see that we have deployed machinery here to clear the water hyacinth. It's not just for fun, it's for safety. Safety of water users, safety of boat owners' boats, because their boats, if allowed to navigate in this water hyacinth, will be damaged. Most of their engines will be condemned. So that is why the federal government sees it as an giving back to them. That is to make them work on our waterways safely. That is why we are clearing the water hyacinth. It's going to happen next week in Bayelsa, Niger Delta, in almost all area offices. But we are kicking off here in Ikpakodo. We'll go to Ekpe. We are monitoring the movement. You know, this thing moves with river currents. So as it's moving, as we are seeing the menace, we are moving with it.
Beyond immediate clearance, the National Inland Waterways Authority is also exploring research collaborations with environmental experts to transform the recurring menace into potential economic value through recycling and bioconversion.
We were sent on a course in Wisconsin. I was part of the team that went from NIWA. And when we got there, we were told so many things that this can be used for. Bags, furnitures, for herbs, and so on and so forth. So research is still ongoing to create a center for the use of water hyacinth.
The Lagos campaign forms part of NIWA's nationwide response as the agency tracks the waste seasonal movement through river currents across the country's inland waterways.
The water hyacinth plant is a very tough plant. It has some very dense, it has a very dense root system. And that's what actually causes problems on the waterways, especially with the marine transporters, because once the weed gets entangled within their outboard engines, it gets damaged because it's a very tough fiber. And what we do is we dry the stems. So people wonder, how does it turn from green to brown? Once that water has evaporated, which is about 95%, we end up with 5% dry weight. And this is the 5% dry weight. So what we've done here is we've actually flattened the stems, because when you look at the water hyacinth, it looks very round and inflated. But by the time the water evaporates, of course, it's much lighter. And then for the intent and purposes of what we were doing here, which was to make jotter covers from this, we've now flattened the water hyacinth stem. So we've made jotter covers with this. You can actually mat this as well. And then in matting it, you can now make things like table decor, your coasters, things for computer sleeves. Very versatile. It actually starts with the harvesting process. So you harvest, you dry the stems. This is one form of it. And then we actually weave the stems into ropes. So these are ropes that have been woven by a home-based artisans. This is one pattern. So this is the braided pattern for we ladies that braid our hair. It looks very similar to some of the weaves we have, only that this is natural. And then we also twist into ropes as well, which is that which we have over there. And then once we have these ropes, we're then, able to create different kinds of objects or materials from these woven fibers. And this chair is one. You know, we use the braided rope here, and as you can see, this braid is actually thicker than this one in terms of the width. So you can create different sizes. So we do gourd art. We make rugs from the water hyacinth. We also make dining ware, your placemats and coasters. So it's such a wide variety of things that can actually be created from it, which are functional, which is very important to note. So it's not just decorative, but you also have functional items as well. Typically, when we make these items, you also provide care instructions. So with your rugs, clearly you won't, because it's a natural fiber rug, you won't be walking on it with your shoes or pointed heels, because that would tear the fiber. As long as you adhere to the care instructions, which are not necessarily onerous, you can have that rug last for a very, very long time. These are products that you'll enjoy in your home, but you just need to make sure that proper care is taken of you know, these natural fiber products. There are actually 2 stages to the making of this chair. Actually, let's call it 3. So the frame of the chair has to be made from wood. So that's one stage. Then the other stage, not necessarily in chronological order, is actually the weaving of the rope that is now woven on the chair. So depending on the quantity that's required for the chair, that will determine the length of time it takes the women to actually weave the rope. This particular chair took about a day and a half. So a day and a half to 2 days to complete this particular chair. That's the weaving of it. And then you'll notice that there's kind of like a gloss on the chair. So what we've done is we've lacquered it to provide it with sort of like a thin film to cover it. So that also helps in the preservation of the fiber, such that, you know, if somebody, especially if this is going to be a dining chair, if somebody now accidentally spills water on it, it doesn't like seep through the fiber as it, you know, if it were to pour on this unlacquered, it would seep through, you know, much faster than it would here. So we have a protective cover. I would say give it at least, you know, 5 to 6 years. You might begin to see some wear, especially if it's used over and over and over again. It's a piece of functional art that actually tells a story, because every hand that has touched this, there's a story that revolves around that, from the fishermen that actually do the harvesting, or the people within the riverine community that do the harvesting. There's a story there, right, about transforming renewable resources that they never thought could be transformed into beneficial use. Here we have it, and this is the evidence.
So I get to see. No, you don't have to see.
I know that's right.
Right.
How? So is it comfortable?
Yeah, it is.
It is. Yeah.
Quite comfortable, I would say.
Nice. It's a nice chair, actually. Purely made of water hyacinth. I can say proudly, made in Nigeria too, right?
Absolutely.
So, Mrs. Achenyo, yeah, thank you so much. This is really a wonderful product of art. Priceless, if I would say, because it's really, really nice having to know that such things are being converted into priceless items that people never thought, you know, can be valuable. Yeah, it's a wonderful work you're doing as well. Thank you. Green Angle returns in just a moment. Stay with us.
It's another scorching day in Lagos, Nigeria's commercial nerve center. The temperature reads 32 degrees Celsius on a day that should typically be rainy in the southern region. But as the weather patterns shift, the country is becoming increasingly vulnerable to climate-related hazards. Across the country, temperatures remain high throughout the year, averaging between 30 and 37 degrees Celsius. While coastal regions like Lagos face humid heat, the northern parts of the country are even hotter, with dry winds and heat waves pushing daily temperatures above 40 degrees. Research shows that Nigeria's average temperature has risen by about 1.2 degrees Celsius in the past few decades, and experts warn it could rise by as much as 5 degrees before the end of this century.
It's usually due to anthropogenic activities, which is human, from cutting down of trees, from poor urban planning, poor ventilations. Those are major catalysts that increases the temperature in Nigeria.
High temperatures cause heat stress in crops and livestock, reducing yields and affecting food supply. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, agricultural productivity in 2024 dropped by 20% compared to the previous year, a worrying trend for a nation already battling food insecurity.
A lot of people who have to look for water for miles are moving to greener areas. It's also a major conflict between herders and farmers. As we shrink to where there are more moisture, better temperature, the conflicts are growing.
For a developing nation like Nigeria, effective governance and strong policy implementation are crucial in addressing the impacts of heat waves, especially when lives, livelihoods and environment are at stake.
Now, using the firewood itself is not even healthy for us because there is smoke everywhere, especially during this rainy season. As you can see, I'm just busy firing this firewood, but the thing is not working.
It is important for all stakeholders to encourage tree planting. Like I mentioned earlier, the Nigerian Conservation Foundation, under its GRM program, the Green Recovery Nigeria, has an audacious plan to plant trees for 30 years. And while doing that, one of the main things that we have seen is that planting is not a problem, the survival. And so one of the things we've done is to ensure that trees are planted based on the need of stakeholders. This ensures survival.
We propose the use of biofuels, and that's why we are now making an arrangement that we can see how we incorporate our communities to start planting Jatropha species. So by using Jatropha, we can be able to provide the biofuels in a very large and commercial quantity, whereby the communities will use it as an alternative source for cooking energy and even for transportation.
Globally, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change reports that average temperatures have risen by 1.1 degrees Celsius since the 19th century, with sub-Saharan Africa one of the most vulnerable regions to heat stress and climate change. As the world gets warmer, Nigeria faces a defining challenge: to protect its people, feed its population, and secure a sustainable future before the heat becomes too much to bear.
And that's about it on this week's edition of the program. Until I come your way next time, remember, together we can build a sustainable world. I am Esther Omopariola. Bye for now.